Hey y'all, this is your girl Coach Nicola T on the beat, and you are now tuning into another episode of the Spacious podcast, where transparency meets healing and faith meets mental health. And on today's episode, as you can see, I have a special guest with me today, Mr. GS Remarkable. I call him Greg himself. So
the most specialist guest.
See, this is this. All right. Anyway, yeah, I have a special guest today that's gonna help me cater to y'all today, give y'all all the gems, snatch your edges, might even have you on the floor somewhere. You know, keep it real, keep it 100. Because in this episode right here, we're actually wrapping up this series, religion versus relationship. And so in this episode, we're talking about I've accepted God. What's next?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about as far as like, okay, this idea came from as far as like when you in church and now it's like you went to the altar, you know, you done gave your life.
You did all your crying.
Yeah, you done did all your crying.
And now it's time for some real life action.
Right, exactly. So now you're at the point where you accepted God, you have, did the salvation prayer, all of that. But then it's like, once you do that prayer and you leave out the church, it's like, well, what happens next?
Yeah.
Like, what happens after that?
And that's the real thing, because from my personal experience, a lot of churches don't have a system set up to help you in those after days.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people find themselves, falling away and falling off, and then you feel bad and you go through this period where you're emotionally being attacked because you were in the moment. You had all this excitement, this enthusiasm, you felt all this warm love, and then it just dropped to nothing.
Or it's like, somebody, they can very well, they start coming to church consistently because now they got this fire up under them. Like, hey, I'm ready to do this thing. I'm ready to be, basically almost nearly sold out for Jesus.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, they in there, they're doing what the righteous thing to do as far as like, they praising, they into the word, yada, yada, yada. They go to church consistently. But then once they leave out, it's like, man, I'm back
no
to
follow
doing,
up. No follow up. Back at the Jeezy concert. Man.
Or, in Florida, everybody, they got like Trina.
Yeah, they back at Trick Daddy. Man.
Bootsy and everybody.
I get it.
No offense, you know what I'm saying?
I get it.
So, yeah, that's why I brought you on here today. Just really to just, we both walk this walk. Like, we walk this walk on a daily basis, and we still walking this walk. And I know we've had conversations as far as like, what it's like to actually, now you're in this space, like, okay, I want to actually build a relationship with God instead of, and while detoxifying from the religious aspect. So just give us a little like, description of what your journey has been like thus far in 3 words.
In 3 words, I would say that my journey had excuse me. My journey has been exciting, enlightening, and unreal. That's how I would describe it. And the reason I say unreal is because I've been, I guess, exposing myself, or God has been exposing things to me that I can only describe as unreal, like unreal. Exciting because the fact that it's like when you're able to draw into the relationship. Think about when you first start dating somebody. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting in that time period. That's the portion where you're most enthused about them. You're just so into them. It don't matter what, they can be chewing a piece of gum and you're like, man, I just love the way you chew gum. You're all in it, and that's how the relationship that God has been showing to me has been I'm just excited about every little thing. And it's good to have people around that I can share that excitement with, because the normal person would probably be like, "What you talking about?"
Right.
But when I go to somebody and be like, "I just love how God you go," they get what I'm saying.
They understand.
You know, they understand what I'm saying. Um, but yeah, my journey has been. I honestly, I was brought up in the church, and I was like many where I wasn't taught about the relationship, at all.
Yeah.
Um, it was more of the relationship we did build was actually traumatic. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be the word.
It was more traumatic than anything. We thought we was going to hell for every little thing we did. So that led to a period of my life where I what they call strayed away. You know, or the other word I like backslid. It's like that's a word for you. Your backslider. But the thing about it is, and it's in the Bible. And I'm not good with regurgitating the scriptures.
You gotta be no Bible.
But they talk about how when you raise up a child in the way that they should go, and they will never depart. I'm a living proof of that. Like my parents, my mom, my dad, they were actually able to sow the seed of God into my life. Even though it wasn't quite the relationship, God was going to take care of that part. He was going to take care of that part within the time that it needed to be taken care of. Um, so yeah, I was the seed was planted. So at a certain point in my adulthood, he was able to bring me back into him. And it wasn't even a time where everything was going. You know how sometimes it's like in the movies you see you're broke, busted, and disgusted.
Yeah.
You crawling back to the Lord, like
on your knees.
On your knees, like this is my last. It won't quite that for me. It was like that eternally. Eternally, my spirit was broke, busted, and disgusted. My heart was broke, busted, and disgusted. Um, so he was able to mend that heart for me, and so once that took place, I'm trying to think what helped me understand the relationship part, and it may be because that's something that is more talked about now than it was in early parts of coming up in the church. But whatever it was, he was able to reveal that to me. You know what it was?
What was it?
It was the fact that we were going through COVID.
Yep.
During that time period,
Yep.
we were going through COVID, and there wasn't no church to go to. You had to sit in your house, and you had to figure out how to talk to God.
Yep.
It was just you and him.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Man, but that made me think about the whole pandemic differently now.
See that's where things like shifted for me, because it was like I was on this wavery type of like relationship with God. Like I'm doing this, but I was one of them backsliders. I was sliding backwards, not too harshly, but it was still backsliding. But it wasn't until the pandemic, like it just shifted everything. And as being in the natural, like in this environment, we think that it's just so harmful. It was so bad. And I believe I talked about this in the previous episode, where it's just like this, it was a plan behind this. Like it was used for the greater good. It was used for the greater good of just like actually cleansing the earth. Like while we was in the house, nature was being replenished. Because we had tainted it so much. People had to actually sit down and talk to their family members. And talk to themselves.
Figure
talk
out
to
they ain't
God.
like them wives they married.
Right.
Them husbands
too.
they married.
Yep, the men too.
Figured out that wasn't it.
That wasn't it. Like even themselves, they had to sit down and really face reality.
That's what happened to me. Yeah, that was my path. I was stuck in the, and when I tell you those was not easy days for me. Those wasn't. It was not easy days. Much needed, but not easy. Because when you gotta sit and you have to look yourself in the mirror, and me, I don't know about other people, but I was in the house. I had recently gone through a breakup. My cousin was staying with me. She had recently left and moved in with her boyfriend. So this was the first time in my 30 something odd years of life where I was literally by myself. By myself. And I bet God was like, oh,
I got you
I
now.
got you now.
I got you now.
Because that's what he did. He made me actually focus. So it was literally the first time where like God had my full attention. Yeah, my full attention, no distractions. No church to have to dress up, look nice for people. The no ushers telling me to move out the way so people can slide by. You know, like it was just me and God. That's it. And that was literally the first time in my life he had my full attention like that.
Mm.
First time ever. Before it was always, kids, girlfriends, family. It was always things in place that distracted me from it. But yeah. And it's crazy to even talk about the pandemic in that way because the pandemic was really traumatizing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
My family took a really big. Did you lose in your family as well? See,
Yep,
so
I
it was
got hit.
like, yeah, it wasn't the best time. So when I refer to it, I try to be really compassionate about that time period because a lot of people don't look at it as in the place as how we did. We may look at it as something that was needed. A lot of
Yeah.
people are like, that shouldn't have been needed.
Right.
They lost loved ones. Um, but it was a time where God had our full attention.
Hmm.
You know.
It just definitely shook the table. I tell you that much.
Mm.
And I believe something vital, just treading back a little bit, something vital that you said was that even in your family, even though you wasn't taught the relationship part of it yet, the seed was still planted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even in this time, that's something that can be very well missed.
Mm.
We can miss the fact that the seed was planted,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't grown properly or it wasn't taken care of or watered in the proper way.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the seed was still planted because I believe, like, at the end of the day, that's what God needs.
Yeah.
He needs the seed to be planted.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like something that I was reading was it was in the devotion. It was talking about God speaks through like our relationships.
Mm.
So it's like, the first relationships that we have is with our parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's with our family.
Yeah.
So it's like he needed our parents, he needed our family members to plant that seed of, under just knowing who he was.
Yeah.
And maybe that was all.
That was the point.
That was the only assignment
Mm-hmm.
they was supposed to do at the time.
Yeah. Think about it. If you have a forest, the person that is planting a tree, they may not they may not know how to cultivate a forest.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to know.
Yeah.
They just need to plant that seed for the tree to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was because a lot of times we refer to that and I don't know how to refer to the back in the day church, but we say they traumatized us. We say that they didn't tell us about relationship. We try to point out things that wasn't going on. When in reality, it may have just been there for them to plant that seed for us.
Yeah.
You know.
But then that brings up the thought of like, what did they go out of alignment of the assignment they were supposed to have?
Maybe so.
Because I was one of those people too. Like, ain't nobody teach me no relationship. Nobody taught me what that
Mm-hmm.
was.
It's because they ain't know. They couldn't teach something they didn't know.
That's true too.
They couldn't teach something they didn't know. They didn't know about it. Um, you got to think also, religion and spirituality are so close knit that people miss it. You know, religion was used as a weapon a lot of times, especially in the black culture.
Mm-hmm.
Religion was used as a weapon. Um, our families, came from these time periods where religion gave them hope of some type. Even though it allowed them to function, in the turmoil that they was in, versus spirituality, you get your power back. You get your power back. You know that you don't have to you don't have to deal with certain things. Versus religion may just have you pray through your sickness or pray through your poverty. Spirituality lets you know that you ain't gotta be sick nor poor. You know, um,
if it is taught properly.
just taught properly.
Because now I'm just thinking like, well, maybe that's where the traumatic part comes in, because we have this this book,
Yeah.
aka the Bible. We have this book that's in front of us that's basically, it is a manual to teach us how to actually get through life.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, the way that it was taught to us, was it taught improperly to the point that, religion came in and it did become like a very traumatic experience for us.
Yeah.
Because it was taught wrong.
It was taught. Yeah. I would agree with that, because that's what I experienced. That's exactly what I experienced. Um, but once I started to understand the relationship of things, man, everything made sense. Everything made sense.
So, do you feel like the relationship is necessary before you even start to get into like the actual Bible?
I think so. I mean, even if we relate it back to, even if we relate it back to a dating situation, before you get a chance to dive into a person's um before you start to dig deep into a relationship of a person, like you start to know why they may act like they do, why they feel like they do, why they, before you get into all the whys, you have a relationship with them. You just love them or you like them. And then that love for them makes you dive deeper into everything else, into peeling back those layers of them. So yeah, I feel like the relationship part. But the question is, how do we how do we establish a relationship?
Mm. Um, I believe that comes from like the unlearning and the detoxifying. Like, in order to be taught something new, you have to go through the process of unlearning and redefining
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Yeah. And I think about that because that's similar. I can only my my situation is so important to me that I'm constantly dissecting it. Constantly dissecting it. And when I say situation, I mean as far as how I've gotten to this point in my life with Christ. Um, it's so delicate to me because I see where things could have took like a major left or a major right. Um, but I stayed, God had kept me on track to where I am now, even though it's still a long ways to go. Um, but I also had a yearning. The yearning is what like helped me establish the relationship. Like I felt like, and that yearning was for years. It was for years. It wasn't like a couple months. It was like years, years of my spirit being pulled and my spirit telling me like, no, it's something else you're looking for. It's something else you're looking for. It's something else you want. I tried to, of course, fill those things up. And when no, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. Let me try this. That's not it. I jumped to other religions, I researched and that wasn't it. So it's almost like the bad dating scene before you find your wife. You know?
Yeah.
Um that's what it was. But it was the yearning for my spirit. My heart was pulling me. It was almost like that seed that was planted was like, you know how if you put a plant in your home,
right,
the leaves would naturally grow towards the light.
Yeah.
you know, like, and that's what I felt like though. Like that seed that was planted was naturally going towards the light. And the thing about it is the enemy got so much to do with that because he'll try to like he spent years keeping me away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Years. He dedicated his whole time. He probably had a I had a whole squad, FBI double squad, keeping me away from what I
Yeah.
needed to be at. Like he
Oh
was
yeah, that's what he
dedicated.
do. He's very strategic, but he used
Mm-hmm.
the same stuff over and over
Yeah,
again.
he was so dedicated. He was dedicated, and I fell victim to it time after time after time.
Mm.
You know, to the point, we even going through a period where you just question God,
Oh yeah, that's the real thing too.
question God, like you ain't real,
Right.
you ain't keeping it real.
Right. So how does, because I know a lot of people, they, that is a natural phase to
Mm-hmm.
have to just like question God on a lot of things because
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, I don't know if he really here. So it's like, how do you get to that point of just like coming back to like, I know like this is God. Like, I know this is him. I know that he is real. How can somebody fight that? Because it's like a mental battle
Mm-hmm.
that they're going through.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily. You gotta think about it. When we say the word God, we talking about the divine,
Right.
right? The creator,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ain't nothing gonna stop his. It's nothing gonna stop his influence on our life. It's
Nothing.
nothing.
Yeah. But it's about the acceptance piece and
That
actually
will.
listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that will,
Mm-hmm.
that continuous fire and that yearn that draws a person closer or, away from them, depending on what they got going on.
Yeah.
So I guess the better question that I should ask is like, what is some unlearning that you had to do to even get to this point
Mm.
in your relationship with God?
Man, I had to do a lot of. It was a lot of unlearning. It
Mm-hmm.
was a whole lot. I mean, for one, I had to seek God for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first step because we live in a time period where everybody's spewing out all this information. Half of it be wrong. My mom, she's going through seminary school right now, and I was talking to her the other day. She was like, that story they say in the Old Testament, when the priests they had the bell on them, and they used to go in church, and if the priest fell down, they
Mm-hmm.
pull him out. She said that's not nowhere in the Bible. They said when they pull that man out on no rope, but time after that's something that they tell you in church. They had to pull the priest out if they heard his bell stop. It's like, so that lets me know right there that people, it's so much information, misinformation out there that you literally have to seek God for yourself. I remember when I went through my adult portion of me being saved. And I say that because I've been saved a few times. I
Yeah,
done
we
been
all
saved.
have. We done got
I done
saved
been
like
saved.
1500 times.
Look at your bank account. It ain't right. You run into the church. Lord save me.
Uh-huh.
Tax time come. You forget. You back at the Jeezy concert.
Uh-huh.
But going through this last period where I was really able to understand. I remember the guy. The men in the church. They had their hands laid on me. I was boohoo crying. I know I'm a gangster, but y'all, I was crying that day. But and he told me right before I left the altar to go sit down, he said, read your Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I tried reading it after that, but I was like, man, I don't know what I'm reading. I knew what I was reading, but I didn't know the implementation into my
Right.
life, right? Um, because that wasn't the first step.
Mm.
The step was to get the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get the relationship, think about it, referring back again to dating, right? If you just now getting to know somebody and you really not tight to them on them like that, and you go to their mama house and they mama pull out the picture album
Mm-hmm.
and start going, this is and they was in second grade right there. You don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I like a person like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when you're deeply in love with a person, and mama pull that photo album out, you right by mama, what they doing in that right there? Who is this? Who is that? It's time for the book now. You know, we can't. It wasn't time for me to jump into the book. God needed to speak to me more. I needed to spend time with Him more. I needed to. I needed to prove to myself why this relationship was so valuable to me. Mm. You know, so I didn't. I actually started with more of the seeking to understand Him. I was in more books, you know, books that talked about Him, the power and purpose of prayer. I've been reading that book for the past 2 or 3 years. It don't take that long to read that book, but I go into it because it like it's a representation of His relationship, how He thinks, how He functions, right? Think about it. When you start liking somebody, you go through their Facebook, you going way back in their pictures.
Yeah, looking at all the pictures.
You going way back in there. You going looking at their posts. What was they talking about? What was they thinking about during this time period? You're not going to the source yet. You're going to references. Mm-hmm. You know, you're going to references. References help you establish the relationship 1st. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm really just thinking about this in real time as we talk now because I haven't dissected the journey like this before, you know. And but man, it's been a ride.
Yeah,
it's been a ride.
It's always a ride. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it is. It's gonna be a ride. Like it's like, are you gonna put your seatbelt on and saddle up?
Hey, and you go through that time period where God is so valuable in your life, but you feel like you may not be able to talk about it because you did just go to that Jesus concert last night.
So then it's like, it's that battle between like you're still understanding what grace is. You still understanding like, dang, do I have to be perfect, quote unquote, right off the bat? And something, because I know that word righteous, it triggers some people a lot because they think that word means perfect. But I was listening to something the other day and it was saying that righteous is not about to be righteous is not about being perfect. It's to be in right standing with God. Mm-hmm. Being
right standing. When you driving down the road, like we're all citizens of America, United States of America, right? We driving down the road. They got me a couple months ago. Police car, whoop, 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 going too fast. Mm-hmm. He go over there. He write out ticket. Give me that ticket. I gotta go about my business, right? Mm-hmm. Am I still an American citizen with that ticket? Yeah, I am. I'm still an American citizen. Like that infraction didn't stop the fact that I'm a citizen of the United States. Mm-hmm. You know, even though I was doing something wrong, I broke a law. I was speeding when I shouldn't have been speeding. And we have to think about righteousness like that. Yeah. You know, like just because you got an infraction doesn't, because I told you I used to be a runner. I go half. I do something wrong. I go duck off. I be walking past God like whoo, 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 whistling, and he be like, "Look at him," but I see you, you know. But that was how I felt. I felt as though God ain't feeling me right now. He not feeling me. He upset with me right now. I didn't do this right. He not feeling me, not knowing that or not. But he knew. He was like, you know what? You just got to get to know me a little bit more.
That's it.
Just got to get to know me a little more.
That's all. That's all it takes. Like that's the most vital thing about having a relation or building a relationship with God is seeking to understand Him. Definitely. Because He knows, especially we was born into sin. Okay, we came out doing things that we wasn't supposed to do. Yeah. So it's like it's a level of grace that is extended for you to just like, hey, like I know you're not gonna get it out right off the bat, but that doesn't mean I want you to stop here. Yeah. I want you to keep progressing and going forward. Like and it also with the example that you gave, that shows the difference between like conviction versus condemnation. Mm-hmm. Like you are not supposed to sit here and condemn yourself and feel like, man, God don't want me no more. I'm
Don't
not a
want me no
child of
more.
God no more because I done went out here to the GZ concert. I done smoked a little piece. Like,
I might as
no.
well turn up for real now.
Right. I might as well go all out. Like,
yeah, that's how it be.
That's how it be in real life. Let's keep it real. But that doesn't mean that he wants you to just stray away from him again. He wants you to fall in position of just like understand, like, this is a moment for correction for me.
Exactly.
This is a moment for me to understand like what is not going to benefit me. This is a moment to understand like this is a poor habit that I have taken in. So I need to take this as a moment to really take this in, this conviction moment, so that I can learn how to break the cycle.
Exactly.
And help that, because this breaking that cycle is what's going to draw me closer in relationship.
And he gonna help break it. He gonna help break it. You may wake up one day and you don't even have it. You don't even have a thirst for it no more. And that cycle is broken. He done did that with plenty of stuff with me. And I just have to, and I would look up one day and be like, you know what? I don't, okay, God, I appreciate you taking that away from me because it was hard for me.
Right. And a lot of times we don't want his way either because listen,
oh yeah,
he'll just cold turkey.
Yeah, he done got
I
done got hit with that too. I done got hit with those too. Like those ain't nice. I actually make sure I stay away from that one. He tell me first 2 times, I'm good on that because once he ripped the rug up under you, it's a different it's a different ball game.
Exactly.
But it's for your better good though.
It is. It is. So if you had to say, just like as we start to wrap up here, for those that are in that position right now as we speak, like they have went through their salvation prayer, they know they have that yearning to draw closer to God, like what are some practical things? Like if you would say 3 practical things that they could do to really draw into that.
To draw into it. I would get somebody that you can talk to that understands where you at and what you have going on. That's definitely needed. It's just like learning anything new. When you learn something new, you want to tell somebody about it, and you want that person you tell to be either just as interested or excited about it as well too. So try to get within. A lot of the churches have small groups. There's a lot of Facebook groups or social media groups that you can maybe be a part of. If it's not directly around you, um, find you a good do some research on a book. Like it may not be you may not be ready to jump right into the scripture and start reading the scripture. Find a good book, a book that is gonna help you continue your spiritual walk or learn something about your spiritual walk because um, God is we God is more places than the Bible. The Bible is more of a manual.
Right.
It's the manual. Yeah, so that would be number 2. Find you a good book. And the third one would be keep your reasons top of mind. Like keep your reason for wanting and building this relationship. Keep that top of mind. If you have to write it, I have a whiteboard in my room and it's interesting because what I wrote on that whiteboard at the beginning of my walk, my renewed walk, what I wrote on that whiteboard, like I had to see it every morning, and now when I think about what I had on it, it was so elementary compared to where I'm at now, but it was so needed for me to constantly remind myself on why I was doing it and what I was doing it for. Um, Mine was the hurt, and you probably feel that hurt too. Like I was so deeply hurt, like deeply hurt. It wasn't a doctor. It wasn't I was in therapy, like I was doing all kind of stuff, but nothing could heal that hurt. So hurt was I was deeply, deeply heartbroken. And that was my reason. And I constantly reminded myself um of that. And when something deeply hurts you, you don't do it. You do everything you can to get away from that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You
You
know,
do.
you do everything you can. Um, so yeah, those will be my three things. Find you a circle, a support circle that you can talk about this stuff, because God's gonna be revealing things to you. He's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be revealing things to you. You're not gonna want to keep it to yourself. You
Right.
know, find you a book that is relative to whatever it is you want to learn about God. Um, don't necessarily jump to the scripture yet, but still, if God takes you there, go there. And third, definitely keep your why top of mind. Keep your
Mm-hmm.
why top of mind, because you don't want to keep cutting yourself. You know.
Yeah, you want to cut yourself
Mm-mm,
short, like no.
mm-mm.
So what's a good book? I know you said a good book. I got one too, but I'm gonna let
Man,
you
I got a
spit
whole
your.
list of them.
I'm gonna let you
Hey,
spit yours out
man.
first.
Man, let me see.
What could you look
Let me
in?
see. Yeah, cause I have. Let me think of some books I have at the house. I know the Power and Purpose of Prayer was really good. Look up Dr. Miles Monroe. The reason I say him because he's a astounding teacher.
Oh yes.
Like, and oh, that's another one. I'm gonna put for a bonus. I'm gonna give you a bonus one. Start to align your spiritual resources.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to. I'm gonna give y'all my playlist, my coaching circle. Dr. Miles Monroe. He has tons of YouTube videos. He has an app that you can go to. He has multiple books.
Mm-hmm.
If you old, you got a DVD player in your house. He got DVDs for you too. Like, but he's a teacher. Like, so I have him. He's my top dog teacher. I have a bishop. So I attend a local church. I have my bishop there. My podcast area, I listen to a lot. I listen to Michael Todd. I listen to a couple other people as well on the podcast arena. Um, Man, but you see how I have different spiritual coaches for different things. So try to kind of develop that. That ain't something that you need to drop all at once, but start to set up your lineup so that you're getting spiritually fed from different areas, because that's gonna help you understand. But definitely, the top two, I would definitely say a bishop or a pastor, someone that's close to you that you can maybe schedule a meeting with if you need to talk, and then a teacher, somebody that actually
Mm-hmm.
teaches the word, because it's not just something we just understand by
Right. Not right
default.
off the bat. Yeah.
So a teacher will definitely connect the dots for you.
Right. Yeah, that's why I
Mm-hmm.
say Bible study. Like that's one of the big things that I would say is a great tool as well. It's like tapping into like the great transformative, informative Bible study group that matches up with your age group.
Mm-hmm.
Even like I attend a Bible study group, about two of them actually, and just to be in an environment where it's constantly like people that are growing.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know God. They're around my age,
Yeah.
and they just, we're all sitting there just
Learning.
learning
Mm-hmm.
together. Like we need each other. We need
Mm-hmm.
community. So I would add on to that as well. Another great book I would say is it's called Fervent. It's by Priscilla. I forgot her last name, but her
Mm-hmm.
first name is Priscilla.
Mm-hmm.
Fervent. That is a great book that helped me to understand how to actually strategize my prayers
Mm.
and actually pray fervently.
Yeah. Definitely a prayer book is a prayer book or guide is so neat, because that's your communication.
Right. That's your
That's your
communication.
communication.
That's your
Hmm.
communication.
If you ain't communicating with a person, you ain't got a relationship with them.
Right, exactly. And then
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times, even when it comes down to prayer, I might have to do a podcast episode by prayer, but
Mm-hmm.
hey, you never know. But even when it comes to prayer, it's just like a lot of times we feel like we have to say certain things, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot it's about sometimes God just wants you to sit there.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
always have to say something all the
Yeah.
time. Your tears, how you feel, that speaks
Mm-hmm.
for itself. So I would just say find community, like he said, tap into those resources. That's so important. And yeah, that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So And then also extended communities that we have out there. I have a new one that's out here right now, Grace Circle. This is a space where we integrate mental health and faith together. The mission is still at hand. So that's another community group that you can tap into as well, because it's helping you to grow mentally, but also we're adding that kingdom, that faith concept there as well, because it's so
we didn't
important.
get into no kingdom talk. We didn't get into that's another one.
Yeah, that's another one.
We gotta slow it down. Yeah,
we
gotta
gotta
slow it
y'all
down
gotta
on there,
wait with that
cause
one.
hey, but I tell you, once I started understanding kingdom, the game changed. The game changed.
Yeah, it did. So let the people know how they can stay connected with you.
Man, y'all can find me.
Who really was, but it's all right.
Yeah, I am Greg GS Remarkable Lender, man. Y'all can just Google GS Remarkable on Google, and GS Remarkable is probably on one of these tags right here. Just copy that right there, throw it in Google, Facebook, Instagram. You'll be able to find me and my company, Remarkable Six Studios, where we cater to businesses, brands, and entrepreneurs, providing photo, video, and marketing elements to help grow these businesses and let small business do big business numbers.
Big business.
What
about social media? You didn't even tell people about it.
Social media, GS Remarkable. Y'all gonna find me. Okay, y'all gonna find me. Listen, one thing about me, I ain't hard to find. I've been doing this for a while.
All right, well, y'all heard it. He said he ain't hard to find, so go find him. All right, so y'all, that wraps it up for today's episode. Today, I do thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Today. I love to come dropping jewels. Okay. I don't know. Did I get some jewels today?
I mean, you threw out some.
Not like I used to though. It's usually
I mean, you
Tom Brady with it, but
a couple of free throws with it.
Yeah, I usually go for half court, but it's okay. Next time up here, I'll shoot from half court for y'all.
Yeah, it's gonna be that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all make sure y'all stay connected with Spacious Podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your people. Share with your friends. Tell somebody. And also follow us on Instagram at Spacious Podcast and the Gracious Space community at _Gracious Space as well. And as always, this is a message from your girl, Coach Nick T. And don't forget, show yourself some grace. All right, we out.